This is no small thing. About 45 minutes ago, Benjamin Netanyahu publicly declared, uh, obviously it's Friday morning in Israel, uh, that a deal has been reached, a deal to return the hostages who are being held in Gaza right now. A deal has been reached to stop the violence in Gaza, the genocide in Gaza. He obviously didn't use the word genocide, but I'm going to use it. Uh, Benjamin Netanyahu's announcement was a big deal for a lot of reasons. Obviously, yesterday the world celebrated that there was going to be a ceasefire deal reached. Unfortunately, this morning we hit a snag as a global community. There was specifically a delay that was announced by Benjamin Netanyahu earlier today on Thursday because his cabinet was not ready to move forward. Now, according to Netanyahu, the reason that the cabinet didn't move forward was because Hamas pulled back on demands for what he called a last-minute concession. He issued a statement. In it, he said, Hamas reneges on parts of the agreement reached with the mediators. And he said that until the mediators notified him that everything had been agreed to and accepted, the cabinet would not move forward. Now, that's Netanyahu's side. And it seems to me that Netanyahu was lying. Why? Because he was talking. Now, according to Hamas, and I'm speaking specifically of Izzat al-Rishq, who is a member of the political wing of Hamas, he said that Hamas was, quote, committed to the ceasefire agreement, which was announced by the mediators. So it really comes down to who you believe. Hamas doesn't always tell the truth, but they've been pretty consistent. No politician tells the truth all the time, but Hamas has been pretty consistent with this deal. They've been pretty consistent with the terms of the deal. They've been accepting this deal for months. It's Netanyahu and Israel that have been pretending that there's a problem when, in fact, the only problem is Netanyahu really kind of doesn't want to do this. He doesn't really want to keep this thing going. And so what Netanyahu did is, and what he always does, is he bargained. He negotiated. He made it seem as if there was a new crisis when, in fact, he simply didn't want to address the old crisis. He didn't want to resolve the old crisis. This is not a shocker. This is very consistent, again, with who Netanyahu is. Earlier today, there was also a question around the Philadelphia corner, which, again, Netanyahu had reneged on. They had an agreement, ostensibly, and then Netanyahu said, wait a minute, we're going to continue to have a troop presence in that corner, which is where you see Israel and Egypt and Gaza connected or intersecting. So he wants to have a troop presence there. He wants to continue to police. He wants to continue to have a security presence there. When one of the key terms of the deal was, of course, not having that. So this is the backdrop to it. So there was a lot of tension. There was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of uncertainty about whether this agreement would go through. And to be honest, I wasn't sure that the agreement would go through. But it did. Now, according to my sources, it went through because of backdoor struggles, backdoor deals, backdoor conversations. You know damn well Donald Trump didn't want to get shown up. He didn't want to look like he didn't make this happen. He didn't want to make it look like he wasn't the big dog in the room. So this is fascinating. We can talk about that later. There are thoughts I have about that. And we've talked about some of them already, but it's very interesting how this deal got turned on and turned up a long time ago, particularly since the terms have not changed. One read is that Biden couldn't get it done and Trump could. I mean, I think that's true. The question is why? If we operate from the presumption that Biden nor Trump is willing to do the thing that would absolutely make a deal go through, and that is not funding Israel, not funding a genocide. If we take that off the table because Biden took it off the table and Trump took it off the table, then the question becomes, well, what does get you there? And it seems to me that Trump is offering Netanyahu something that Biden would not. Not sure what that is. We know for sure, though, that there's been a public affirmation of Israel's right to settle and annex the West Bank. That's what Israel says it has a right to do, and that's what Trump seems to be endorsing. And so it could be that Biden would never agree to that. And now Biden wouldn't really stop it. Again, the Democrats have been feckless and weak on this forever. So this is not a defense of the Democrats. It's just to say Democrats at least put good public relations up on certain issues. Donald Trump is like, I don't care. Just wrap up the deal and let's make some money. And so it seems to me that Netanyahu agreeing to this is not because Trump offered a better deal or Trump made a persuasive phone call. I think they had a deal the entire time. I think the entire time the deal was, don't do a ceasefire for Biden. If you wait for me, I'll give you more. And you make me look good. It's a quid pro quo. And so that is, I think, what's happening. And that seems to be playing out right now, but I don't know. I'm speculating. Now, I have sources that have told me this. I'm not just pulling it out of my butt. But, nothing is confirmed by any stretch. I'll tell you when something's confirmed. This ain't one of them things. So as of now, the deal is moving forward and the ceasefire begins Sunday. Now, the idea of a Sunday ceasefire for me is always unsettling when you're dealing with a nation like Israel. It's always unsettling because Israel has a commitment to eliminate